The pipe for both of the Bruins wins against the North Stars earlier this year. 2-1 Boston in Beantown and 5-2 Bruins likewise. So the North Stars, Gary, would like to get on track and pay back the Bruins a little bit tonight.
Well, they came up with a great effort last night, and they want to do the same thing in tonight's contest. Get right on the Bruins, especially since they're hurting. Make them pay.
Off the draw. North Stars control, but the Bruins come right back. Simmer lets fly, and Casey kicks it out with a pad save. Into the corner on the right side. Fighting for it there. That's Slager, 25 for the Bruins. Simmer has it tied up. Behind Casey, it comes clear, and Casey right out in front, and he trips up Lindsman. Back it goes, and the North Stars clear it out. They try to dump it in. It's deflected by Bukestad. Bukestad takes a hit. It goes to center ice, and Lindsman picks it up there. Drops it off. Leaves it for 25. Slager. Slager clears into the corner, and Giles races for it there. Behind Casey. Leaves it. There's Slager. Looks for the open man out in front. Lindsman comes in. Taken away by the North Star. They try to clear out of the zone. Breaking down. There goes Neil Broughton, the ex-Olympian. Clears it. 2-on-2. Leaves for Cicerelli. Cicerelli tries to get the shot away. Shot out in front. And Cleaves kicks it out. Slager takes a hit behind. Pressure by Bukestad.
That's an example of how valuable a guy like Broughton is. You know, to be able to gain that blue line and then set up a perfect pass.
North Stars clear it in. Marouk races for it there. There's Mike Milbury, former assistant coach. Do you think he's not winded?
I tell you, I wouldn't want to be out there. He's only practiced for about a week, and I imagine his insides are ready to come out.
The youngster, Burridge, takes a hit from Rouse. Bellows with a cross-check out in front. Whistle by Myers, and the face-off to the right side of young John Casey. There are the Bruins. And, of course, well, they've had a tough time of it of late. They've lost 5 in a row. They've only won 4 of their last 10, Dorney.
Very uncharacteristic of a Bruins hockey club because they are so well-disciplined. They grind it out. And Butch Goring made mention of that fact. Says we're in a pressure situation because Hartford's close by and Buffalo, and we're fighting for our lives for that playoff spot.
Off the draw. Casper loses it. North Stars control. They wind it around out in front. Marouk comes up with a loose puck. Marquardt checks him into the board. Bodies go flying to the left of John Casey. North Stars try to come up and clear the zone. Cannot. Good defensive play there by Tulvin. 22. Here's a 3-on-2 out in front. Shot kicked out by Casey. Casey with a glove save.
Well, I'm sure that the North Stars would like to tighten things up here because they can't allow the Bruins just to go unmenaced in their own end of the ice. And, you know, Lauren touched on that today. He said, you know, we've got to take the body. We've got to use a lot of discipline in our own end. And here in this first period, they haven't done that. And when you want a 3-on-1, it's very easy to beat somebody without a hockey stick. Watch Casper. He's got the open net. He'll shoot it right back to Casey. All he had to do is slip it in on his backhand.
And the youngster Burridge was there on the doorstep waiting for the rebound that didn't come out. Back come the North Stars. End-to-end action. Into the corner it goes. Milbury takes a hit. Cowboy Plett goes into the corner. And they are tied up there to the left side of Doug Keynes. No score here at the Met in Bloomington. The Bruins nothing and the North Stars nothing. There's our time left in the first period. The only tough save so far by John Casey.
Well, it's been all in the Minnesota end of the ice, and we're going to see an interesting matchup with Willie Plett going after Milbury, trying to slow him down.
Bork Plett with a body check behind the Bruins net. Portnoy clears it out, and it goes to number 4, Craig Hartsburg. Lifeblood of the Minnesota North Stars. Here's a 2-on-2. Shot on goal. Casey comes up with a glove save and the face-off to his left side. And we've got a penalty called by referee Bob Myers. Dorney?
It's going to go against the North Stars on a trip. And again, it's the Bruins that are taking the play away from the North Stars. They're applying some pressure, and Hartsburg goes to the penalty box. And what a valuable person this guy is to the hockey club. You know, he's been faced with a lot of injuries over the last few years, but this time of year, he's very, very healthy and contributing. There's the trip right in front of Casey, and so the Bruins will go on the power play. And this is the area that they're really struggling, not only in the penalty killing area, but also power play. That's why the Bruins have not won a lot more games.
The Bruins only have 60 goals on 304 power play attempts. They are 17th in the NHL. You see on that graphic, the face-off is to the left side of young John Casey. So out there now, the penalty-killing team for the Minnesota North Stars.
The real key on the Boston power play is number 7, Ray Bork, the all-star. And, you know, they got to concentrate North Stars and not let them get that booming shot away from the point.
Back come the Bruins with a man advantage now for another minute 45, and we've got an offside whistle at the blue line. We talked about the Boston Bruins being 17th on the power play. How about in penalty killing? The North Stars are 9th overall.
They have improved tremendously, and a lot has to do with Lorne Henning, because that was his specialty when he played as a penalty killer.
Just outside the blue line, 17-28. It's a scoreless hockey game. The Bruins and the North Stars, the third meeting of the year. And there you see the Bruins won both games up in Boston. That shot of the young coach, 35 years old, Lorne Henning. Interesting that both coaches learned their craft under Al Arbour and the Islanders.
And he's a good one to learn from.
A minute and a half left to go on the Bruins power play. Bork sends it ahead. Simmer races down the left side. Lindsman on the wing. Rouse steps into Simmer, and back come the North Stars. 2-on-2. Tony McKechnie drops in the blue line, and it's offside against Minnesota. We've got 17:02 left to go. 1:16 left to go on that penalty to Hartsburg. Hartsburg, the captain, and Gary Dornhofer touched on the fact that he'd been bothered by injuries for the last 2 seasons.
And we're looking at McKechnie, and every team needs a type of individual that'll go in the corners and be tough against the boards, and McKechnie certainly supplies that for the North Stars.
Obtained by Minnesota in that trade for Brad Maxwell and Brent Ashton out of Montreal, Quebec. 6'1", 198-pounder. Tony McKechnie, number 25. Off the draw, Minnesota controls, and they're doing a pretty good job on the penalty killing. Bruins in the midst of their longest road trip of the year. 7 games. Chicago, St. Louis, Minnesota tonight, then Calgary, Edmonton, off to Vancouver and Quebec. And they're doing it like the walking wounded. Lindsman drops for Simmer. Wrist shot deflected by Casey. Bork over on the right wing. Clears out in front, looks for Simmer, nothing doing there. Racing for it to keep it in the zone, and they do a good job. That's number 22, Telvin. Into the corner. Langevin steps into Simmer. Out comes Simmer with the puck. Giles back on defense. Crowder looks to center. Takes a hit there by Langevin. Into the corner it goes. Cannot clear the zone. Telvin keeps it in. Gets it over to number 13. That's Lindsman. Slap shot by Bork. Kicked out. Casey. Good stick save. Back comes the North Stars. 25 seconds left to go.
Well, you can keep an eye on Casey because he's very aggressive and he'll really challenge the shooters. And the players play for him. That's the thing.
Lindsman is free in front. Casey with a save and a score. Getting free out in front, it looked like Peterson, number 10.
Of course, Jim, no sooner than you pay somebody a tribute and a goal is scored. But that's something that Peterson does so well, is he's got those soft hands, and when there's a loose puck in front of the net, he normally knows what to do with it.
For Peterson, it's his 19th, check it, his 20th goal of the year and his 8th power play goal. And you see how quickly the Bruins came back with that 3-on-2, and Casey didn't have a chance.
He didn't have a chance, and what set it up is heading for the net. You know, that third man always has to go for that net, and allowed that rebound set in front. And Peterson never had any trouble putting it in for his 20th of the year.
You know, his first NHL goal came on his second shift on the ice in a game in Vancouver, so he didn't waste any time proving he could score. 1-0 Boston. They take the early lead after number 30. John Casey come up with some big saves. North Stars on the attack. Cicerelli chases it in behind Doug Keens, and Mike Milbury, the former assistant coach, tries to clear it out of the zone. Back come the Bruins. Casper sends it ahead, left wing. Cicerelli muscles Marquardt over in the corner. They battle for it in the near boards. Milbury steps into Cicerelli. Marquardt keeps it in the zone. Broughton.
In last night's game against Hartford, the fans were booing the hockey club until they got on track, and it seems like they're kind of in a stagnant position right now as the Bruins are just all over the North Stars. North Stars were actually outshot last night by Hartford, but they came away, the North Stars did, with a 4-1 victory. Get the oxygen. Where, Mike? You know, from a coach back to help out his hockey club and fill in. You know, when he first started, he said to Goring, he said, look, I just want to play a couple of shifts a game because I'm really not in top condition. Then they ran into some more injuries, and he ended up playing about 20 minutes in the hockey game, and he needed a blood transfusion. Nevin Marquardt called for the hook, so it's the first power play opportunity for the Minnesota North Stars. And as far as Minnesota goes, they're 10th in the NHL, 56 goals on 249 attempts. Out there, Klett, 24, works with Broughton along with Cicerelli. Back on the point, Hartsburg, number 4. And number 15, that is Kent Nilsson. Broughton works around Milbury. In on Keene. Centering pass out in front, taken away by Milbury. Clears it to the near board. Back it goes to the point. Hartsburg over to Nilsson. Nilsson in front, and it's kicked out by the defense. Back come the Bruins, 2-on-2. Good defensive play. Burridge
Leaves it there. Peterson, who has the power play goal, sends it ahead.
One thing that makes the Minnesota power play goal, it's number 15, Kent Nielsen. He has an abundant talent in passing that puck. And Goring, they would like to have Nielsen shoot that puck a lot more. You know, he's always passing, so he's got to unload it.
Bork tries to center, but Cicerelli comes up with it, leaves it there for Hartsburg. Slap shot, kicked out by Keene. Into the corner goes Nielsen, sets it back out in front for Cicerelli. Tries to free it up to Hartsburg, deflected away for a moment by Peterson. Back to the left wing point. Loses it. Blatton comes up with the puck. Somebody in front lost the glove. Camped right out in front is Bork. It was Bork who lost the glove. Hartsburg tries to get the shot away. Cannot. Deflected. Back it goes, and it jumps over Nielsen's stick.
Well, you hear the fans already, Jim. They're starting to give the team a little rough go here with the boos because they don't want to shoot the puck. A lot of passing, but they're just killing off the penalty.
Over it goes on the left wing. Bukestad, number 14. Leaves it there, sends it around for Bellows. Back to Bukestad. They get it back on the point. Slap shot by Hartsburg, deflected out in front. One of the North Stars pulled down right in front, and a score! Bukestad off the centering pass by Nielsen. Let's see who gets the goal.
Well, that was just a marvelous play by Kent Nielsen because everybody in the building thought he was going to go around the net and pass it out the other side. What he did was throw it out on the short side. And Keens, keep an eye on Keens now. He's going to go to the other side of the net. And now here comes the pass. And Keens is looking the other way. And Bukestad, he has an easy time of it. That's what we were talking about, Jim. Great hands. He moves the puck so well. Such a smart player, that Kent Nielsen. And when he's on, he makes the power play goal.
Great setup by Nielsen. The 8th power play goal of the year for Scott Bukestad, who was the North Stars' 13th pick back in the 81 entry draft. So we're all tied up. 1-1. The Bruins and the North Stars each with a power play goal. Looks like it might be a long night for the netminder. Into the corner. Burridge comes up with a loose puck. Tries to leave it there for Crowder. Nothing doing, and the North Stars control. Back comes Bellows, number 23. Centering pass for Rouse. So you've got the defenseman playing up on the left wing. Offsides against Minnesota. A 1-1 score. The Bruins won. The North Stars won. Jim Kelly, and welcome back to the Met here in Bloomington. 13:03 left to go. A couple of power play goals. Peterson is 20th, and Bukestad just got his 31st. That tied things 1-1. Off the draw, back even. 5 aside. North Stars control, send it in. Keens with a stop, leaves it there for Milbury. Pressured by Brian Bellows.
Now, the Minnesota North Stars, they have to work Milbury every opportunity. Don't give him an easy game and wear him out.
Keens leaves it there for the former assistant coach. Talked with Ray Bork in the Bruins dressing room before the game, and I asked him what's it like having an assistant coach, a management representative, come down into the locker room. He said, once a player, always a player. His heart's still with us. Deflected, it hit Myers in the left thigh, and the North Stars control, trying to clear up against the red ice. Slap shot by Alain Cote, who arrived here early. His skates didn't arrive, though.
It'll be interesting to see if they finally did or if he's wearing someone else's.
And the North Stars bring it across. Cote steps into the corner, comes away with a loose puck, winds it around the board. They leave it for Giles. Giles pins in, tries to center it in front, and a good check by Ray Bork. All-star defenseman Ray Bork. Shot out in front, and Keens comes up with a save. 1-0 our score here. Let's find out what else is going on around the NHL. Here's Tom Meade.
Well, Jim, the Edmonton Oilers having their way with the Buffalo Sabres tonight. Watch Wayne Gretzky with the puck, the magic man. He has the puck on his stick, tries to pass. The pass hits Billy Height's stick of Buffalo, comes back to Gretzky. He scores in the backhand. The other night, Gretzky had 7 assists. He's got 1 goal tonight. Edmonton leads it 3-0.
Edmonton looking for their 40th victory of the year. This, of course, a rematch of last Sunday's game that you saw here on ESPN. Hey, the Sabres own already 2 victories against the Oilers this year.
They mentioned the name Wayne Gretzky. That sounds familiar. Should we know that name?
You know, I asked Warren Henning down in the tunnel. I said, if you were going to start a hockey franchise, would you take number 99, Wayne Gretzky, or number 7, Paul Coffey? And he shook his head. He said, boy, that's a tough one. It'd be tough to pass up a Gretzky, though.
I think you'd negotiate for both of them.
Well, you know, there's a theory like in baseball. You like to be strong up the middle and have that strong defenseman. And there really Well, you might get some arguments in Boston, but there's nobody better than Coffey and Ray Bourque, huh?
That's right.
North Stars control off the draw. Flett centered out in front. Giles tries to get it to him. It's deflected in front. Charlie Simmer out there with Lindsman and Crowder now as head coach Butch Goring mixing up his lines, and the faceoff to the left of Doug Keynes. 1-all our score, the Bruins and the North Stars.
To hit the right note on your personal computer, you've got to have the right personal printer. That's why IBM offers an ensemble of personal printers. For text, for color, for graphs, for pictures, for speed, for charts, for letter quality, for whatever you compose. IBM personal printers for the finishing touch.
1-2. Broughton down the right wing against the near boards. Campbell cannot come up with it. Centering pass by Hartsburg, and Peterson is there and intercepts. Back from the Bruins. Here's a 3-on-3. Peterson, Courtnall, and Campbell now. Wrist shot by Peterson, comes up with it himself after the glove saved by Casey. Centers, look, centers right in front. Courtnall was there and couldn't get the stick on it. Back come the North Stars. Bukestad clears the zone. It goes all the way to Campbell. Campbell off the near boards. Bruins just dump it in the zone, and Boston on a change. Hartsburg takes a hit there from Courtnall. Courtnall's been out there a long time. Bruins, of course, with all sorts of injuries to the defense. Milbury centers it on down, jumps over Courtnall's stick. And back comes Minnesota. Ket Nielsen dumps it in. He had the centering pass that set up Bukestad. Keynes has it jump over his stick. Bellows sends it back to the right point, keeping it in the zone. Bob Rouse, number 3. He worked with Gordy Roberts over on the left point. Dangerous pass out in front, rink wide, and the Bruins finally clear the zone. Bellows, big check at the blue line there, and that gets the crowd into it. Rouse sends it around the board, gets it over to Gordy Roberts. Roberts gets it ahead to Bellows. Bellows, 1-on-2. Centering pass intercepted there. Bruins control. Rouse tries to get it out in front to Marut. Cannot. A sliding kick out by Milbury. Back come the Bruins at center ice. They just dump it in the zone. Bruins on another change. All those changes for the defensemen, does that wear them out?
Well, it's important for the Bruins to make short shifts. You know, they want to overstay their shift. That's how you get worn out.
Slap shot, and Casey has it deflected out in front. Casper is tied up by Giles. Otherwise, Giles had a nifty centering pass. Let's check in more scores. Here's Brian McFarland.
All right, we're going to take a look at the NHL scoreboard, and we have one final in overtime. Pittsburgh and New Jersey wound up in a 5-5 tie in the extra time. There it is, and it's Detroit and Rangers locked at 1 in the second period now. Toronto at Maple Leaf Gardens leading Vancouver 1-0 in the first period. And Edmonton has that 3-0 lead over Buffalo also in the first.
You know, that 3-zip score, the Oilers were a little mad after the first Buffalo win. There was some chanting and some Stanley Cup-like singing in the Sabres locker room. The Oilers remembered they got a chance to get even tonight.
Players are very sensitive, aren't they?
Are they superstitious?
I think they are.
Marquardt, 17, comes up with it for the Bruins, centers it out in front. Looks for Randy Burridge. Burridge tries to get it over to Bourque and does. Bourque. Let's try the slap shot deflected out in front by Casey, and we've got a penalty by Bob Myers. A cross-check against the North Stars, so the Bruins will have their second power play. Burridge sends it into the corner. Return pass for Casper. Back to Burridge. Burridge centers it over, gets it to Peterson. Peterson's got that first Boston Bruin goal. We've got 6-on-5 now as Keynes comes out, and there's the whistle. Cross-checking out in front, so a Bruins power play when we come back. Boston 1, Minnesota 1.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer.
Hey, can I have a light?
Whoa.
The Penguin, he's only 5'8", 180 pounds, but his lumber was felt right here.
Well, that was questionable, but one thing about your defensemen, they have to clear the front of the net, and Giles did it effectively, but the eyes of Myers felt it was a penalty, so the Bruins again will go in that power play. We see Ray Bourque out there again. He's logging a lot of ice time so far in this first period.
Bourque, of course, number 7, leading vote getter for the Boston Bruins. Or as the All-Star game, which you saw here on ESPN, works with Telvin, number 22. Telvin is back there on the left point. Out there on the faceoff is Lindsman, 13. Controlled, however, by Keith Axton, number 12, for the Minnesota North Stars. Roberts winds it around the far boards. McKechnie trying to clear the zone and does.
One thing Lauren Henning had mentioned is that the reason that the penalty killing has improved is we play very aggressively in our penalty killing, and it's showing right there. They're not giving the Bruins a chance to set up. They just keep pounding them at every opportunity, force that bad pass.
Linsman intercepts, works with Bork, bumped out of the zone. McKegney tries to tie it up. Bruins keep it in the zone. Simmer races down the left wing, centers for Linsman. Slap shot is kicked out. Telvin let it fly. One of the North Stars lost his stick. That's Gordy Roberts, number 10, working without the lumber. Over it goes to Linsman. Linsman, back it goes to the point. Return pass to the ex-Flyer. To Charlie Simmer, back to Linsman. Trying to set it up for Bork in the big blast. Linsman in front. Simmer, beautiful centering pass, and Keens kicks it away.
Acton's got to go to the bench and get a stick. He gave his to the defenseman. There's no sense staying out there. It only takes 2 or 3 seconds to get another stick, and you're right back in the play. I question playing on the ice without a hockey stick.
More Stars back on defense. Bellows out there now. Works with Hartsburg. Bruins on the attack. Peterson, he's got that first Boston goal. Takes a big hit. Lajovic with a cross-check in front. No call by Myers. Bruins already in the power play. Milbury centers it around the left wing. Peterson winds it around. Burridge tries to screen in front. Peterson with good puck control. Back to Milbury. Milbury, a centering pass, deflected out in front by Peterson, and another penalty call.
That's Casey. Far too aggressive in his crease there. Now let Minnesota touch the puck. That's what the Bruins want. And why kill off the first penalty? Good play by the Bruins.
Hartsburg goes over and says something to referee Bob Myers. We're at the 7:04 mark of the first period. The Bruins with a power play goal, and the North Stars with a power play. Let's see if we can find the penalty in front.
Of course, the goaltender's only doing what he should do is just clearing his area. That belongs to the goaltender. In case it was a little bit too aggressive there, because there really wasn't a shot on net or a screen set up because the puck had gone in the corner. But Lauren Henning had talked about the aggressive, sometimes over-aggressive net mining of John Casey.
John Casey, the former American Hockey League Rookie of the Year, who led Baltimore with his goals against average in the AHL, 2.63. Led the league in victories with 30 and was chosen as the league's Rookie of the Year last year. Takes a rather foolish penalty.
Well, you should get a chance at the National Hockey League when you have that kind of an average in the American Hockey League. The setup now, Jim, when you have a 2-man advantage, you try the pick plays and screen off some of the North Stars. And, of course, Lauren Henning is telling his guy, don't get tied up. Try to form a triangle and keep the Bruins to the outside. But I can see them feeding Ray Bork and just moving in about 15, 20 feet and firing a low shot and watch the Bruins jam the front of the net. They're going to make things very unbearable for Casey in the next few minutes.
Gary, what's the biggest difference, 5-on-3 versus 5-on-4?
Well, you have that extra man, and you should be able to execute a good scoring chance. And, you know, it's the movement without the puck. That's the key in any power play is create an opening for the puck carrier.
How about defensively now? When you've only got 3, you can't play the box or the diamond anymore. It's a triangle.
It's a triangle. That's right.
Into the corner, Bob Rout works out there with Gordy Roberts. Back it goes to Telvin. Telvin sets up Bork. Slap shot in front. He scores! Ray Bork.
Jim, when you shoot the puck the way Ray Bork does, every opportunity you let it go. But Telvin slid him an easy pass to handle. And, of course, Ray Bork gets this and releases it. You notice he's in the center of the ice. He has a good angle right at the goaltender. And watch the jam up in front, just to the side. He may have been screened. Yes, absolutely screened. Good work by the Bruins to set that one up. The low shot by Bork, and the man in front of the net set up that goal.
16th of the season, his 9th power play goal of the year. Of course, former winner of the Calder Trophy is outstanding defenseman back in his rookie years, 79 and 80. First Bruin to win that award since Derek Sanderson, and only the 5th defenseman in NHL history. Out there again, 2-1 Boston. All of the scoring has been of the power play variety. 6:35 left in the first period. Crowder still with the puck. Pressure by Bellows. Keep in mind, as Casey puts it up against the net, that only one man comes out of the penalty box. So it's 5-on-4, not 5-on-5, because the North Stars were 2 men down. College basketball, a big doubleheader coming up live tomorrow. First, Syracuse at Pittsburgh. Big game in the Big East. Then Tulsa takes on Wichita State. It all begins at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Pacific. Both games subject to local blackout right here on ESPN.
Now, if I would have been another 6 inches taller, I might have been a basketball player.
I don't know. You did play on the Flyers softball team.
Wasn't very good, though. Good field, no hit.
What'd you say before we went on? You were extinguishable. 1:18 left to go in the Bruins power play, and the North Stars clear the zone. Racing back for it for Boston. That's number 22, Mike Kelvin. He's been out there, the youngster with the veteran Ray Bourque. As Butch Goring trying to get something going defensively with his MASH unit as far as defensemen go. Now on the left side, Charlie Simmer. Bruins go rink wide. Bourque leaves it for Simmer on the off wing. Picked up there beautifully by Rouse. Out in front, centering pass. Casey kicks it out. And finally, the North Stars clear the zone. Keith Acton whips it down.
That showed another sign. Look at it. Bad change here and an excellent play by Keynes.
Bourque comes back with Crowder. Casper's in the center. Bourque controls, gets it over to Peterson. Peterson, a centering pass. Casey must be shell-shocked by now. Casper goes into the corner. There are 30 seconds left to go in the Bruins power play. Casper takes a hit there by Giles. Crowder sends it back to Peterson. Bellows pressuring him on the near boards, checks him into the board. Casper leads for Peterson. Centering pass deflected out in front. They can tee it up. And a good play out in front by Langevin. Casey was out of the net. A diving save by Langevin, and the North Stars clear the zone. Back come the Bruins again. Bourque keeps it in. Got Casper on the left wing. Back it goes. Wide open. Slap shot in front. Wide. Kicks up on the backside of the net. Casey never saw the shot. Back it goes to the left point. Dave Facine keeps it in. Casey Facine jumps over his stick. Centering pass. Langevin there. Ties up Peterson, and the North Stars try to clear the zone. Back come Bellows. A 3-on-2. Flying down the left side. Leaves it for Brian Bellows. Bellows with a wrist shot. A glove save by Casey. We've got 4:45 left to go in period number 1. The Bruins 2, Minnesota 1. There's number 31, the Boston goaltender Doug Keynes. His dad was a goalie.
Well, one thing, when you get a 3-on-2 break, it's important to get a shot on net. And you saw Bellows, after a pretty good setup by Bukestad, let that wrist shot go, and Keynes, good glove save.
Keynes has played in seven different cities, splitting his NHL career between L.A. and Boston, and he'd never started a pro season in the NHL until he was with the Boston Bruins.
Does that mean he's in demand?
You said that. Send your mail to Gary Dornhofer, just outside Toronto. Big hit in the corner. That was Dave Jensen. Winding it around, Cicerelli is out. Way out of the net comes Casey. And back comes Minnesota. Up ahead to Broughton. Flying down the right side goes Hartsburg. No help from the wing. There's a defenseman playing left wing. Shot is deflected out in front by the Bruins defense. They send it on ahead to number 33, John Blum.
Coaches in the National Hockey League, they'll encourage their defensemen to go up in the play and just add in another dimension, an extra forward, and that's exactly what Hartsburg did on the play, and Broughton set him up perfectly.
Blum sends it ahead. That's 25. Louis Slager. Slager dumps into the zone, deflected out in front. 3:53 left to go in the period. Bruins 2 and Minnesota 1.
Now, Jim, we've got a long way to go before the end of the year, but number 7, Neil Broughton of the Minnesota North Stars, comes in mind as being the most valuable player. Coach Lorne Henning talked about he has carried this hockey club for periods of time, and there was a 3-week stretch when it was just amazing watching him play game after game. What an important part of the hockey club that he played.
And when you talk with a coach, he says one of the things that makes him so good is that eye-hand coordination. Bellows deflects it out in front. One of the North Stars fell down. That was Dennis Marouk at center ice. Bourque is back out there again. Marouk steps into the puck, deflects it up, and back come the Bruins. Out in front. Picking up a little bit as the Bruins start to throw their muscle around. There's Rouse with a return check, and free down the left side. One of the Bruins. Casey comes up with a save. Good defensive play by Gordy Roberts. Roberts ties up 2 of the Bruins behind the net. Marouk now comes over to help out. It's deflected in front, and Casey does not see it. Centering pass, and score! Craig Nienhuis.
Nienhuis, one of 4 rookies, gives the Bruins a 3-1 lead, and they've really deserved being ahead in this hockey game because they've really outmuscled the Minnesota North Stars for the puck. We've seen a few hits. Now watch the action behind the net, and it just slides by. There's that beating your man to the puck, and that's exactly what Nienhuis did. He wanted it more than the defender, and just takes care of that situation. Now watch Casey. He's screened on the play by his own player. He goes down. Instead of just standing straight up, he probably would have made the saves. It slips through his legs, and we've got a 3-1 Bruin lead.
15th goal of the year for Craig Nienhaus, who last played with the RPI Engineers, signed on by the Bruins as a free agent in May of last year out of Sarnia, Canada. Centering pass out in front. Keith Acton has a jump over his stick, and Plett back there bumping into Bruins, and now we've got a penalty against. Is it Plett? We'll check it. It's against the Boston Bruins. So while Myers goes over the penalty box, Boston 3, Minnesota 1. Got his first NHL goal in his third game against St. Louis. Called for holding right there.
Well, the good play by Acton, you know, help it out a little bit, but he was trying to get away from Telvin. Myers caught the hold.
And you saw Casper and Plett muscling in the corner.
Watch number 24 now. He's going to make things a little difficult for Keens. That's really Plett. He'll get himself in front of that net and stay there.
Oh, and you're 6'3" and 200 pounds plus. Cicerelli, kick save by Keens out in front, and he hangs on to the rebound.
Well, I played against Willie, and a lot of times had to watch him. You know, when you're that strong and you could motor, he could motor in those years. And you just address him as sir. You know, you don't want to get him upset because he is a lot stronger than I was.
You know, there's a theory that Plett's career has been extended by the fact he does not wear a helmet because he's a favorite of the fans. So many times now you find it hard to identify some of the players because of the helmets. But with the hair, it was a little bit longer. Plett used to skate kind of like Bobby Nystrom.
Well, he still loves to play, and he is quite an inspirational leader in the dressing room. And you know, that's what coaches are looking for in teams. They're looking for character people to play a role, and that's exactly what Plett. You look at his stats, they're down considerably, but he can help the hockey club out in different ways.
Willie Plett was born in South America. Came over to the North Stars from Calgary back in '82. Casper clears the zone, sends it all the way down. Of course, the North Stars on the power play. Broughton is out there with Cicerelli, Plett, Hartsburg, and number 15 bringing it up, Kent Nilsson. Leaves it for Broughton. Member of the U.S. Olympic team takes it in down the right side, tries to set up Hartsburg. Pressure by Milbury. Milbury pushes Broughton off the puck. Cicerelli takes a hit, goes into the corner. Plett comes up with it. There's Milbury again. Milbury logging a lot of ice time, and back come the Bruins, 2-on-2. Peterson works with Casper on the left side. Peterson works in against Nielsen. Good speed. Centers. Nobody's there. Plett takes number 10 Peterson into the boards. No call by Myers there. And there goes the return hit by Peterson, who dumps Plett. And now watch this.
Willie Plett should just back off because Peterson has the penalty. Oh no, Myers is also.
Myers will take them both off, and now Plett gets into it. There's Broughton in the center of things trying to break it up. Well, you could see that one coming, and you said that Plett would stir things up, and indeed he has.
Well, the North Stars need some stirring up tonight because they have been very lethargic in their play, and perhaps that'll do it.
Now watch the hit. Here's Plett taking Peterson, but Peterson will come right back and get the equalizer. That's more than the equalizer. That's a TKO. While we sort out the penalties, let's go downstairs to our colleague Brian McFarland.
In our first intermission coming up, we'll have a little feature on the use of the instant replay by referees in the NHL. We'll have the Chrysler Dodge Player of the Week, a look at the week in review, and the Bud Light hockey news as well. And Gary, I've been impressed with Doug Keens out here. Twice in this period, he's caught the North Stars making a line change. His long passes have been effective, and one paid off in the first Boston goal.
Excellent point, Brian, and you know, that's something that the North Stars have to be aware of. You know, you think that the puck is going to roll all the way down the other end, and all of a sudden Keens comes up, he has a man waiting at center ice, and they've caught the North Stars a couple of times in that play.
Peterson and Plett both off for roughing. Our colleague Brian McFarland, our host tonight, you know, he still has some of those Peter Puck books. He passed along a couple to my kids. Now Plett is being excused. I think he's going in for a little repair work. That did not happen as a result of the fight. That really happened as a result of when he hit the boards on the near side.
Well, they're also sending Peterson to the dressing room, so they're going to get an extra 2 minutes rest for the end of the period. 1:58 to go, and the shots certainly indicate the play with the Bruins holding an edge 11-6.
How'd you like to be Mike Milbury, who was minding his own business being an assistant coach, and a couple of days later you're down there on the ice facing the likes of Bill Plett and a few others saying, guys, I don't want to fight. I'm just here to get the puck out of the zone. 3-1 Boston. Broughton centers it. Nilsson comes up with it, leads for Hartsburg. Hartsburg gets it over to Cicerelli on the off wing. Cicerelli tries to set up. It's 5-4 Minnesota on the power play. For the next 41 seconds, it jumps over the stick of Hartsburg, and Minnesota's power play not very effective. Offside against the North Stars. So let's find out what's going on in Quebec and Calgary. Here again's Tom Mees.
Thank you, Jim, at the Saddle Dome in Calgary, Quebec, and the Calgary Flames. And if you don't succeed at first, try again. And Dale Hunter tries 3 times. That's the charm. He scores. Quebec leads Calgary 2-0 in the second.
Battle between a couple of teams in second place in their respective divisions, so there wouldn't be a seat available for that one.
And Calgary really pulls them in there. That's a great place to play, and the Flames, they're out of that slump they were in. They were going through some very difficult times. There were 10 games without winning, but they seem to be on track again.
And, of course, Calgary, the host city for the '88 Winter Olympics. Lots of Olympic coverage right here on ESPN. North Stars on the power play for another 25 seconds. In the corner, Keith Acton muscled off the puck there. Back it goes to the left point. Nilsson tries to keep it in and gets the shot away. Glove saved by Keens.
Well, that's what we had talked about earlier, that Kent Nielsen has to shoot the puck a lot more. That time, the North Stars just didn't get anybody in front of the net, and Keens had a good view of it. And you see what a hard shot that Nielsen has, because Keens had to stretch out for that one. Now,
Keens, go ahead, Gary.
Keep an eye on Bork. He's looking around. Nobody's going and trying to set up the screen. And you know, that's something that when you see your defenseman set up for that slap shot, somebody has to move in there and set up that guy in front of Keens.
Keens registered wins last year against 11 of the 15 opponents he faced, and he was unbeaten against Detroit, Edmonton, Hartford, LA, Minnesota, Montreal, New Jersey, the Islanders, Rangers, then Winnipeg. That's not a bad year. You think he wasn't a bargain? They picked him up for $100 on the waiver wire. 12 seconds left in the Minnesota power play that hasn't been. Hartsburg will try to get at least one shot away, dumps it into the corner. Bellows has it jump over his stick. Acton ties it up there. One of the Bruins defensemen falls on the loose puck. And for 2 more seconds, Minnesota with a 1-man advantage. Now we've got Lindsman kind of stirring things up back behind the net. There's Milbury. Bukestad. Things got a little chippy when Peterson and Plett started throwing their weight around. And now Myers is sending a couple more off. There's Brian Bellows and Milbury.
Well, it's important for the referee.
Milbury's not finished.
That's right, Jim. It's important for the referee to keep control of the hockey game. He doesn't want to let it get out of hand and end up with a brawl. And you see Lorne Henning, he's standing up on his bench complaining to Myers about the cross-check.
I called Mike Milbury in his room in the hotel this afternoon to talk to him, and I thought maybe he'd be watching some of the ESPN programming and following sports. He said, Jimmy, he said, call me in about an hour. I'm taking a nap. He said, I'm too old for this. There is Doug Keens, who we're talking about, picked up for $100 by the Boston Bruins from the LA Kings, entering his 8th pro year, second with Boston. We mentioned that he's played with 7 different cities, but he split his NHL career between the Kings and the Boston Bruins.
So Milbury and Bellows also have gone to the dressing room. They each get 2 minutes for roughing.
This keeps up. There'll be more players in the dressing room watching our coverage than out on the ice. 54 seconds left to go in the first period. Off the draw, North Stars control. Giles keeps it in. Low wrist shot. Deflected out in front by Ray Bork. Back come the Bruins. 3-on-2. Lindsman sends it ahead to Casper. Got Sullivan free. Good defensive play by number 26, Dave Langevin. He covers up. Casper controls, keeps it in the zone. Sides all even, 5 apiece. Back comes Neil Broughton. Hartsburg flying down the left side. Cicerelli offside on the right. There is Neil Broughton. Of course, his brother Aaron plays with the New Jersey Devils. He is really the lifeblood of this Minnesota North Stars team. A very class individual, by the way, and a member of the Boys of Winter from 1980.
Well, you saw that he's leading the hockey club with 78 points. The next closest is Cicerelli with 59, but What happens with Neil Broughton is the speed. The players respect that speed. They start backing up over the blue line, especially the defensemen. And once you gain the zone, that's when you can set up that plays.
We talked about his brother Aaron playing for the Devils, and of course he's got a third brother that plays for the Gophers, the University of Minnesota. Recipient of the Hobie Baker Award, the highest amateur hockey award you can get, awarded by the Decathlon Club in Minnesota. Back comes Cicerelli. 13 seconds left to go in the period. Ahead to Broughton. 2-on-2. 9 seconds remaining. Minnesota may not get another shot away, and they'll go in trailing 3-1. Now we've got a fight to the right of Doug Keane. That broke out almost instantaneously as the puck went into the corner. Marquardt 17, and I think Gordy Roberts 10.
Well, Roberts was coming to the aid of his teammate. He's been noted to do that because Marquardt really leveled Broughton. And that's when Roberts came in and protected his player.
Broughton goes over and says something to Myers like, "Where's the boarding call?" Well,
more players to the dressing room.
I said we've got 3 in there for each, and Gordy Roberts gets a big ovation. There's Bob Myers, who must be wondering what happened in the last 5 minutes. He said, "Guys, we had a nice hockey game going here for a while."
All right, keep an eye on Marquardt as he levels Broughton. Now, Broughton will get up and they'll jab each other with the sticks, and that's when Roberts came in and took care of Marquardt.
That could have been a very dangerous check. You saw Broughton's head go against the boards, and both his feet were out from under him. But when you get hit blindsided, who was the hardest checker you ever played against?
Well, Larry Robinson nailed me one night in Montreal. I thought I was going to die. I had him worried there for a minute.
How long were you out? Was that a smelling salts job?
That was in the Stanley Cup playoffs many years ago, but he leveled me pretty good.
3-1 Boston with 2 seconds left to go. Interesting to see if the teams cool off a bit during the intermission. Brian McFarland, our host. Interesting things coming up. And that'll do it. Bruins got on track early with a power play goal. North Stars came back with it, and now we've got sticks flying at center ice. Don't go away. Boy, the thermometer really heated up here in the last 5 minutes.
That's it ever. And, you know, for a team that has been in a slump like the Boston Bruins, they were very feisty tonight, and they've had an excellent first period, especially with their forechecking. But that's something they've been noted for over the years, aggressive forechecking.
Broughton is still complaining to Myers on the check why there was no boarding call on Kevin Marquardt. Bork is over there defending the Boston Bruins, and Myers said, "Everybody head to the dressing room. I don't feel like a debate right now." Well, a couple of power play goals got things all even at 1 apiece, as we started to say, and then the Bruins with some firepower, they lead it 3-1. Taking a while for everybody to get to the dressing room. Lorne Henning is up back behind the North Star bench, and he is yelling things at Bob Myers, which I'm sure are not happy Valentine's Day. So we played 20 minutes here at the Met, and the Boston Bruins lead the Minnesota North Stars 3-1. Don't go away. Brian McFarland with intermission number 1 coming up live on ESPN. In cross-checking, but then, Gary, what happened? Casey goes for 2 for roughing. Thelvin gets a hold. Plett a rough. Peterson a rough. Milbury a rough. Bellows a rough. Roberts for fighting, and Marquardt for fighting.
Trying to tell me that they don't like each other, eh?
Hello.
Now, Doug Keane was really excellent in that first period. Mind you, he didn't have the work that Casey did, but on 3 or 4 occasions, he showed that flexibility and the ability to use that glove and make some good saves.
Shots on goal for that first period. The Bruins with 12, the North Stars with 7. Boston leads at 3-1. Peterson, his 20th goal of the power play variety, as Tom Mees pointed out, put Boston in front 1-0. Bukestad came back with his 31st, the equalizer, to make things 1-1. And then the Bruins with 2 unanswered goals. Bork, a power play goal, 2-1. Niehaus, his 15th, made it 3-1. And that's where we are as we start the second stanza. McCarthy's line out there with Jensen, working now with Hartsburg on defense for the Minnesota North Stars. Graham is 21, Dirk Graham, and Matt Saline, 28 for Minnesota. And we've got a whistle and a 2-line pass. Gary?
Jim, sometimes, when you look at a team's roster and you see all the players that are injured, you take for granted that, well, they're not going to come up with a big effort. They're hurting. A lot of key people are out. And perhaps that's what's happened with Minnesota in that first period. They thought it was going to be an easy game because of all the injuries to Boston. But Boston really put on quite a show and just showed you what enthusiasm and intensity can do for your hockey club.
You saw that graphic on John Blum, 6'3", 205 pounds, out of Detroit, Michigan. First, he was an All-American at the University of Michigan. Lindsman tied up by Hartsburg off on the far board. Down goes Lindsman. Good check by Hartsburg. The puck is free in the corner. They battle for it there, and 21 comes up with it, Dirk Graham. Graham tries to wind it around behind John Casey. Cannot. Bruins keep it in control. Shot is just wide. Back goes Blum on the point on the right side. North Stars control. Try to clear the zone. Lindsman, good forechecking. Kenny Lindsman, the kind of player when he's on your team you love him, and when he's on the opposition you hate him.
It's a good way of describing Ken Lindsman. He can really agitate you, but he has to play his game.
Philadelphia, they called him the rink rat. Traded from the Flyers, played with the Oilers, now picked up by the Boston Bruins. Aline will try to clear the zone. Number 28 and cannot. Kept in. All alone in front. Shot is out and scored. Casey let that one slide right on through. Lindsman.
Lauren Henning made an interesting comment. He said, we have far too many offensive players, and when we get against a team that checks well, they exploit our weaknesses. There, the Minnesota North Stars gave the puck up inside their blue line. Why try to beat a man one-on-one when the easy play is to dump it out? Well, the Bruins intercepted just inside the blue line and set up. There you go. It's a dump off the boards. Why try and beat that guy there? Make the safe play. Now, Casey really isn't set here, and the puck will just slip by on the short side. Boy, that's the one area you don't want to get beat on, is the short side.
Slager acquired from Quebec on October 24th in a trade, and of course the Penguins were involved. Also got a 4th-round draft pick. And after Slager came to Boston, the Bruins won the first 3 games he played in 6 of their first 7. After Casey's a little bit shaky, and I think that's being kind, Don Beaupre, who played outstanding against the Hartford Whalers last night, checks in. So Warren Henning not wasting any time. Maybe some of the fans here in Minnesota thought he waited too long.
Who knows what Lauren Henning is thinking about, but I think it's gone far enough right now that this game is still intact, where the North Stars have an opportunity of coming back. But they have to shut the gate, and they're going to rely on Beaupre to do that. The only thing is right now he doesn't get a warm-up, and I'm sure he'd like to handle the puck a few times from long range.
Slager comes up with his 4th goal of the season. Louis Slager, one of 3 current Boston Bruins that played for Birmingham in the old WHA. Beaupre almost has it deflected out in front, and there's Peterson. Takes a tremendous hit by Langevin. Otherwise it would have been 5-1. Crowder lets fly, deflected out in front. 4-1 Boston at the 18-16 mark, second period. North Stars are very flat. Bruins have lost 5 in a row, and it deflects out in front, and it's 5-1 Bruins, and Beaupre's fate is no better than John Casey. Crowder was out there along with Milbury, and let's see who gets credit. Deflected out in front, Dorney.
Yeah, you could never go wrong by shooting the puck, and Crowder, he leads the team. You notice how everybody backs up. As soon as Crowder is ready to let that slap shot go, you have to challenge him. That certainly didn't take place by the North Stars, so Crowder just moved in a little closer. But again, you shouldn't be able to score from almost against the boards. And he's not screened on the play. It may have deflected. Was it Peterson cutting in front of the net? It may have changed direction right there, Jim.
18:02. It is 5-1 Boston. And Beaupre kicks it out with his stick. Centering pass out in front. Flett comes up with it there. North Stars come back. Keens has had an easy 2 minutes to start period number 2. Into the corner. Flett misses on a check. And it goes almost out of the zone. Keeping it in. Bob Rouse. Flett deflects out in front. Off on the near boards it goes, and the Bruins clear the zone. Out in front, Craig Nienhaus, who collected his 15th goal. Flat shot, and it's deflected out there by number 33, Beaupre. Everybody looks a little shaky in goal.
Well, Hartsburg, he had a challenge then and tried to force a turnover. He gambled on the play, and the Bruins broke out 2-on-1. You'll see Minnesota do a lot more of that to try to get back in the game.
Flett tripped Crowder. Hartsburg centers to Flett, and Keens kicks it out. Big save, point-blank range on Flett. Bruins chase it down. Casper leaves it out in front. Back come the Bruins. Burridge just lets it go in the zone. Jensen comes up with it there. Bruins are on a change. 17 minutes left to go in the second period. 5-1 Boston. Minnesota 4-1-1 since the All-Star break, but flat tonight. Nielsen gets free, and Keens comes up with his second big save in a row. It was a sliding one right to left. North Stars cannot keep it in the zone. Jensen deflects it, gets it over to Bellows. Bellows' girlfriend just named Miss USA for the state of Minnesota. Rink-wide pass. Bruins in trouble. Pressure now by the North Stars. Bellows with a big hit on Blum. Milbury tries to clear the zone. Nilsson deflects. Centering shot. And Keens with a kick save. Left skate. Jensen keeps it in. Free in front. And that's just wide. Off it goes rink-wide. And 23 for the Bruins. Charlie Simmer comes up with a 2-on-1. Simmer. And it's Beaupre with a save in front. And the sticks get up. There is 25. Louis Slager really got his stick up in the face of number 2. That was Kurt Giles. Giles never saw it. 16-16 left to go in the second period. Boston won. Minnesota 1. Fans enjoying the North Star game.
There's that save by Keens again. He made a couple in this second period. And meanwhile, the Bruins continue to get those 2-on-1s and 3-on-1 breaks because of the gambling style that Minnesota has to use now for the rest of the game.
Boston 5, Minnesota 1. Back from the North Stars. Bob Rout gets it over to Hartsburg. Hartsburg across the red line, dumps it in. Keens with a glove save. Sends it around the near boards. Crowder waits for it there. Bellows and Cicerelli. Cicerelli with a big hit. Peterson clears the zone across the blue line. Offsides against the Boston Bruins. What happens when you fall behind in your own building after tying it up 1-1 and then 4 straight goals by the opposition? It takes the crowd right out, and you take yourselves out of the game emotionally.
You'd like to play straight time for the rest of the game and get out of the building. But, you know, there's still time, but it's up to the North Stars to apply some pressure. But when you got guys like Peterson doing a job not only offensively but defensively, and he's going to try to contain Broughton. That's been the matchup for most of the game. Broughton is a dangerous player for Minnesota, and you have to slow him down, contain him. You're not going to stop him completely, but do the best to contain him.
2 Sunday nights ago, Washington came back from a 4-0 deficit. Keens with a big save out in front, and the Bruins try to clear the zone. Back comes Peterson, looking for the hat trick. He's got 2 already tonight.
This has been the difference in the game. Keens has come up with a big save. The North Stars haven't been able to get the solid goaltending.
Wrist save. Beaupre leaves it there for Hartsburg. Out with Broughton, Cicerelli, and Bukestad. Icing is waved off. It goes up into the seats, and we'll have a face-off just outside the red line. 5-1. Boston leads Minnesota. 15-11 left to go in period number 2. 2 Sunday nights ago, Hartford at home led the Washington Capitals 4-0. Capitals came back, won that game 5-4, and we were talking at lunch. I really think that turned the Hartford season around. That and the loss of Ronnie Francis.
It may have done just that, Jim, but remember, Hartford isn't a defensive club like the Boston Bruins. Boston, they pride themselves on being able to stop the opposition, and I would be very surprised if they allow Minnesota to come back in this game.
Jensen and Giles out there defensively now for the North Stars. For the Boston Bruins, winding it in. That's number 12, Randy Burridge, the youngster, centering pass on the left wing, too far for Crowder. Going into the corner deep, Craig Nienhaus. He's got his 15th goal, and out with it comes number 2. And up ahead it goes for the Minnesota North Stars. It goes on the right side. Keith Acton pulls up short. There's a penalty call as one of the North Stars was pulled down from behind. Plett comes up with it. It'll be a power play opportunity. Giles keeps it in the zone. Milbury sees it go up near the glass. Into the corner it goes. Centering pass by McKegney, and it's finally touched. It'll be a holding call against Boston, and a Minnesota power play when we return. Boston 5, Minnesota 1. Come back to the Met here in Bloomington, Minnesota. 5-1 Boston. You've got to get 1 before you can get 2, before you can get 3, don't you?
That's right. Well, Keens has been their stumbling block right now.
No call by Bob Myers as Marouk had a stick up around his neck. The helmet came off. Fans want a penalty. Marouk can't believe it. He gets back up. He's okay, and he dumps it in the zone. There's as good a reason as any for wearing the helmet. Bruins clear the zone. Crowder gets it out. Marouk gets his stick between Crowder's legs, pulls him down. No call. Over it goes on the right side. Simmer on the off-wing controls. Nilsson steps into him. Upends the former L.A. King, and back comes Minnesota. Marouk on the right side should be running out of gas now. He's been out there for 3 times, plus the trip. Into the corner he goes. Cross-checked by Kenny Lindsman. Lindsman has his stick controlled by one of the North Stars, and now Lindsman does a 360 and ties up Scott Bukestad. Out in front, Maruk was upended, and there's the call. Milbury comes up with it. We've got a cross-check against Boston. 11:02 left to go in the second. North Stars on a power play. Boston lead, it's 5-1. There's Maruk and Milbury, and while they unscramble, let's go back to Tom Meade.
Jim, tonight in Madison Square Garden, Ron Greshner has given the Rangers a 3-1 lead in their game against the Detroit Red Wings. Greshner, wearing number 4, skates in and at the face-off circle takes a quick wrist shot that beats the Detroit goaltender. Rangers with a win can close within 1 point of Pittsburgh in the Patrick division.
The Rangers with a 26-26-4 record, tied with the Penguins as the evening began. And, of course, the Red Wings, with our former colleague Brad Park, only 12 victories. What do you think, with all the money that Mike Ilitch spent over the summer, it's been a disappointing year for the Red Wings, hasn't it?
It certainly has. It's going to have to sell a lot more pizzas, won't it?
North Stars on the power play. Out there at center, that's number 7, Neil Broughton. Cicerelli is 20. Plett is 24. On the point, Nielsen 15 with a big shot in Hartsburg.
Jim, sometimes it's more important to try and get a good chemical mix. You know, the chemistry has to be right for you to have a good hockey club, and I think that's what a lot of coaches work for. So it's not goals and assists that are always the best way to go.
Burridge takes a hit from Hartsburg, and back comes Minnesota. Rink wide it goes from Cicerelli, jumps over the stick of Nielsen, and the Bruins on the attack. Peterson out there in the penalty killing too. He's got 2 goals tonight. 5-on-4. Minnesota for another 135. Broughton tries to control in his skate, and the ex-Olympian does. Leaves it there for Plett. Bourque takes Broughton out of the play, then takes, and we've got a penalty call against the North Stars. This will be against Plett. Holding call against Plett on Ray Bourque, and just like that, the one-man advantage disappears.
Well, it wasn't a good penalty for Plett to take. You know, I think it's a lot of frustration right now as far as the North Stars are concerned, because he just grabbed them, hauled them down, and Myers is right there. He has to call the play.
Well, almost a travel log on Willie Plett. He was born in Paraguay, South America. His home now is Marietta, Georgia. Played for Calgary when the Flames moved from Atlanta up there, and then came over, of course. He was Calgary's 4th draft pick back in '82, the entry draft. I talked to Lauren Henning earlier today. You were talking about some of the players, the quality players you need, and you need a Willie Plett on the team. You need a muscle man, you need an instigator, and you need somebody who plays with an awful lot of heart, and that describes Willie Plett. But I said, Lauren, is it frustrating when he takes the bad penalty? And he says, extremely so. Usually he does that in the 3rd period out of frustration.
Well, again, you know, you're on a power play, and it was a needless penalty to take, and it's a reaction penalty, and when things are going against you, you have to use that discipline. That's very important.
McCarthy tied up at center ice by Jeff Portnoy. They're skating 4 aside. Peterson is still out there down the left side. And we've got another call by referee Bob Myers, a holding call, and the North Stars are back on a power play once again. 5-1 Boston, but let's find out about this night in the NHL. Here's our host, Brian McFarland.
Well, it happened tonight in the NHL, February 16th, 1982. Peter Stastny of the Quebec Nordiques scored his 100th point of the season. Quebec 7, Winnipeg 3. Stastny's never scored less than 100 points in 5 NHL years now, and is one of only 3 rookies to top 100 points. Gary, I'm sure you can tell us who the other 2 are.
Thanks, Brian. I'm well, let me see. Howard Chuck must be there, and I would say Lemieux. How did I do?
1 more.
Howard Chuck Lemieux.
That's it.
That's pretty good. Holding call against Peterson, so he won't get the hat trick for a while, and it's 4-on-3. Now, we talked about playing 5-on-3. How about when it's 4-on-3? What happens offensively and defensively?
Well, again, you have that open ice. You have a little more room to move, and it's just read and react. Read a play and getting yourself in a good scoring position. It's the puck movement that's going to work for you.
Bellows has the puck now. Scored in his 17th straight game last night. Hartsburg lets fly, and Keynes comes up with a nifty glove save.
Remember, Jim, that the puck can always move a lot quicker than the player can skate. And you want to get the type of individuals out there. Number 1, they know how to make those passes. They can control the puck when it hits their stick. And also you need an individual that's going to get the puck out of the corner for you. So Bellows would fit that role. And the guys that can pass the puck, you know, you have Broughton, Nielsen, and Hartsburg. So you have a pretty good combination out there to score a goal for you.
Bruins on a change. Lindsman comes out. Milbury will get a rest. We talked about Brian Bellows. He has scored in 17 straight games, number 23 for Minnesota. That ties Jude Druin's team record. Somebody pointed out, though, all Bellows has to do is score in the next 22 games, and he ties Wayne Gretzky's stretch earlier this year. Bruins on a power play. Excuse me, the North Stars on a power play now for another 45 seconds. Good wrist shot by Kenny Linsman. It goes behind Beaupre, and he hardly saw it.
Well, there's a good play by Linsman because, number one, he didn't try to beat the guy. He used the defenseman as a screen. Just put the shot past his shin pad.
Hartsburg to Nielsen. Gets it to Broughton. Broughton tries to get around Cote. Cote pulls him down. Cote just got here for the Bruins. His skates arrived late. Slap shot left point. Keynes with a kick save. Controlled by Linsman out in front. Cote steps into one of the North Stars, and one of the defensemen falls on it. That's Bourque to Linsman. And Cote comes up with a loose puck, returns it back to Bourque, and Bourque gets it off on the left point, jumps over the stick of Nielsen. Back comes Minnesota, offside against the North Stars, and that's just carelessness. Well, coming up 1 week from tonight, the Washington Capitals and the Buffalo Sabres. Big game at 7 o'clock Eastern time from the Aud in Buffalo as ESPN Sunday night NHL hockey action continues. Join us next week. That should be a good game.
I like the way Washington plays. Very disciplined, and they're within 8 points now. The Flyers with 3 games in hand. That is a excellent division, that Patrick division. Philadelphia, Washington, Islanders, Pittsburgh, and Rangers really in the hunt for playoff spots.
Capitals 10 points behind the Flyers in the Patrick division. And, of course, the Buffalo Sabres in that Adams division. You can go from first to last or last to first with a good or a bad week, eh?
That's right.
9 seconds left in the penalty now to number 24, Willie Plett. And 26 seconds left in Peterson's holding penalty. Puck is tied up. Plett comes out, touches the puck, and the whistle blows. Well, after things got a little frantic at the end of the first period, the tempo of the game, as far as the fisticuffs, has calmed down a bit.
Well, the Bruins certainly don't have to do it. They've got that big lead. From the Regina Pats, the first-round pick in '83, Marquardt Nevin, 21 years old.
Spent most of his time last year between the Hershey Bears of the AHL and the Boston Bruins. Bruins' first-round draft pick back in the '83 draft. And he got his first goal on October 27th against these Minnesota North Stars. 8:20 left to go in the second period. Minnesota on a power play for another 15 seconds. Gordy Roberts, rink-wide pass deflected out in front, and a good play by Steve Kasper.
Now there's that rink-wide pass, and all the defender has to do is step right in the middle, and it's exactly what Kasper did. But that's his specialty, is killing penalties.
Peterson is back, and we're at 5 aside. Roberts looks over to Plett. Instead goes rink-wide to Cicerelli. Deflects out in front. This will be an icing as soon as it's touched. 5-1. Boston leads Minnesota. Number 2. And if you're Lorne Henning of the North Stars stalking the bench, what are you telling your team right now?
Well, there's not too much more you can say. I mean, it's an individual thing up to the players. They have to make things happen.
Bourque with a slap shot. Beaupre was slow to react, but it went wide. Cote keeps it in. Gets it to Courtnall. Courtnall with a wrist shot.
See, Jim, again, you know, you're playing against a very good defensive hockey club that knows how to check. And they're getting all over the Minnesota North Stars. They're not giving them room to skate. And so that's where that frustration comes in. And what happens is that you start doing it on an individual basis. You know, first one guy will pick up the puck and try to go all the way, then another guy, and you just can't let that happen. You have to play as a team.
Well, we're talking about Lorne Henning, who's 33 years old, and he, like his coaching opponent, Butch Goring, tonight, in their first year as a head coach. Of course, Lorne was the head coach of the Springfield team in the American Hockey League, a team that is shared by the Islanders and the North Stars. Surprisingly, the Bruins don't have a minor league affiliate. And that, some people think, caused them some problems when the injury rash hit as far as the Bruins were concerned.
Well, it's been difficult, but I admire the effort that they've come up with tonight. It just goes to show you that you're willing to pay the price. And I'd like to see more players do that. There is a price to pay.
Well, Harry Sinden made a point about not having a minor league hockey affiliate as far as saving money as the puck goes up into the stands. He felt that the money savings far outshone the advantages, because he said, if you have a minor league team, you really only have 1, 2, and maybe 3 players that you're going to be able to call up that are really NHL caliber. And by now, with the injuries at Boston, you'd be dipping down to 4, 5, and 6, and those players aren't ready.
Oh, you still have to have a training ground. I mean, that's where some of these young players learn and develop their skills. Because remember, players mature at different ages. Not everybody can come in the league and be 18 and be able to play.
Beaupre kicks it aside, waiting for it there. Langevin winds it around. Nilsson tries to clear the zone and does. Marouk almost got free, and back come the North Stars. Brian Bellows. Keynes comes up with a glove save. Marouk waiting on the doorstep. And the faceoff will be to the right side of the $100 bargain basement price paid for number 31, Doug Keynes.
He's been very good. You know, the shot total has closed considerably. Keynes has now had to handle 15, and he's looked good. You know, he has good position. He knows when to slide. He knows when to stand up. And I would say he's had at least 7 tough chances in tonight's game.
You know, he is also, you saw that graphic, 5'7". He is the shortest goaltender in the National Hockey League. When you are short like that, you don't have the range of, say, a Kenny Dryden or something, so you've got to do it more on reaction. They doing it?
Well, he is quick, and he showed that.
Bruins walking right in on the doorstep. Fine defensive play there by Giles to poke check it away. Here comes Bellows racing back. Works with Marouk. Bellows gets around the defense. Kicked out by Keynes at a good save. Bellows at point-blank range. One of the Bruins defensemen knocks Keynes down and then goes into the net.
Again, smart by Bellows to try Milbury. Make him work and go to the outside. And he showed that Bellows has good acceleration, a change of pace.
Icing called against the North Stars with 6:14 left to go in the second period. Boston 5, Minnesota 1.
I'm still here, demonstrating the incredible dependability of this little Xerox Marathon copier. You won't catch me staring at the wall, not with this kind of excitement going on. Ow!
For perfect documents over and over again, call.
Hartsburg is trying to get his players going. He's offering that inspiration. Watch the collision in front of the net as Keynes goes over his own player.
Johnny Blum.
John Blum, that's right. But I like what Hartsburg, you know, as captain, you have a responsibility, and you provide some of the motivation, and you heard Hartsburg on the bench trying to get his troops going. Peck away one at a time, he was saying.
North Stars on the short end by 4 goals. Bruins now on a 3-on-2. Boston, Linsman in the center. Sets it up on the left wing a little too far. Klett steps into Linsman. Linsman took a look and got the number. They'll put that in the computer bank. Back comes Minnesota. Klett racing down the right side. At center ice, it's McCarthy. Offside against Minnesota. You know, you talk about the responsibility of a captain. What did Clarkey used to do to get you guys fired up?
Well, he just led by example. You know, you don't have to holler and scream in the dressing room or on the bench. I think you just go out and lead by example. And Clark was the type of individual that never stopped working. And, you know, it becomes contagious. And what's important also, and one of the questions that I directed at Lorne Henning, how many self-motivators do you have in your hockey club? You know, it shouldn't be the responsibility of the coach to continue to have to motivate your players. That should come within. And the more self-motivators you have, it makes the coach's job a lot easier.
Hartsburg out there now at right defense, number 4, the captain of the North Stars. When he was just 18 years old, he left junior hockey to join Birmingham of the WHA, and Minnesota selected him in the first round of their draft. He's played in 3 All-Star games, and he holds the North Star record for assists with 60 and points in a season by a defenseman with 77. 5:45 left to go in period number 2. It's been all Boston. Shots on goal. A bit deceiving, though. 18 for the Bruins and 16 for Minnesota. Boston outshot Minnesota 12-7 in the first period. Broughton races for the puck. Portnoy comes up with it there. Winds it around to Charlie Simmer, the ex-LA King. What a line that was, huh? King, Taylor, and Dion. Linsman tries to set it up, does in front. Simmer is free, walking on in. Good save by Beaupre, comes out, kicks it out in front. One of the Bruins was pulled down. That looked like number 25, Louis Slager, who was pulled down. North Stars try to keep it in the zone and cannot. Hartsburg sends it back over on the left side. Jensen walks in, and dumping it on in is number 14, Scott Bukestad. Telvin winds it around the near board. Campbell, the youngster, dumps it in the zone. This will be icing. Beaupre touches it, and it's waved off. Langevin against the board. Ciccarelli, it jumps over his stick, and the Bruins control. Boyd sends it ahead. Slap shot right side, just wide by Pacine. Into the corner goes Peterson. Pacine is open in front, can't get his stick down. North Star coming the other way. Back goes Keith Acton. Acton races down the left side. Takes a tremendous hit by Alain Cote. It jumps over the stick of Langevin. Racing down for it is Dave Facine. Facine takes a hit by Giles. Giles comes up with a loose puck. Peterson forechecking. 4:15 left to go in the second period. McKegney. Acton on the left side. McKegney just dumps it in the zone. Acton races for it. Cote shoots it right against the glove of the goaltender. Keane kicked out. Peterson and Langevin. Langevin keeps it in the zone. It comes out to Bourque. Bourque takes a hit from Flett. The puck controlled by the Bruins, and they dump it back to center ice.
You notice that the North Stars, they're not allowed to carry that puck into the Boston end. They always have to dump it in. That's because the Bruin defensemen are standing up, and the reason that they're able to stand up is the forwards are coming back. They're not getting caught on those 3-on-2s, and that's just discipline. You know, they have that 4-goal lead, and they could just do that for the rest of the night and win very comfortably.
Bruins sending it ahead. That's Steve Casper free for a moment. Good forechecking down in close. Minnesota ties it up to the right of...
Giving the Blackhawks trouble this season.
Chicago leads the division with 64 points. St. Louis 6 behind with 58 points. And the Minnesota North Stars in third spot with 55 points. Minnesota trailing Boston 5-1. Bruins have not won in 5 outings, and they've only won 4 of their last 10. Certainly in command here this evening. On the left side, Marouk sends it in. Stick save there by Keens into the corner. Peterson leaves it for Milbury. Milbury looking like he needs oxygen right now. Up it comes. Slap shot. Beaupre.
Milbury's come up with a courageous effort because there's no way of describing how he feels.
I did not mean that in a disparaging way. We were talking about Mike.
Because I know his insides, what he's feeling. He's so tired. The legs don't want to move, and he's just playing with a lot of courage.
And he's out there without a helmet. Boston Bruins playing in his 3rd game. Things were so bad, so many injuries, the assistant coach had to suit up. All alone on the doorstep, and he could not control. Beaupre dodged a bullet there. Well, we've got 2:18 left to go in the second period. Boston 1, the North Stars. Boston 5.
Beaupre, and he stick handled himself right behind the net. Good opportunity, just didn't pay off for him.
Here's an opportunity, though, breaking in all alone for Tommy McCarthy. McCarthy has it side away, and it's batted out in front. And there's the whistle, a penalty called by Myers. Hooking called against the Boston Bruins. Interesting, McCarthy got the shot away, otherwise it would have been a penalty shot. Brian McFarland, what's coming up in the second intermission?
Not too many hockey players have earned a gold medal at the Olympics. We're going to talk to one in the second intermission. He's Billy Christian, a famous name in amateur hockey. Many years ago at Squaw Valley, his son Dave also won a gold medal at Lake Placid. More on that in the second intermission. We'll also check in at Sports Center with Tom Mees.
You're looking at Doug Keens, the goaltender, just 5'7" for the Boston Bruins. Now watch McCarthy, whose nickname is Juggy, Minnesota's 2nd pick in the '79 draft. You see, he got the shot away. Cicerelli came in and tried to stick it through on the near side. And North Star is still talking to referee Bob Myers about why no penalty call, but quite obviously he got the shot away, Gary.
Well, that was a pretty good effort by McCarthy. He was hooked and grabbed from behind, but he kept his concentration going and had an opportunity to put it by Keens. Telvin draws the penalty, so let's see what the North Stars can do in the power play.
McCarthy had his season ended abruptly last year. February the 14th at Joe Louis Arena, a punch by Tiger Williams caused a concussion, and he was out for the year. There's a shot deflected out in front with McCarthy waiting on the porch. It goes back to Nielsen. Nielsen sends it rink wide. Slap shot is deflected out in front. Keens has a jump over his stick. Broughton comes up with it in the corner. They'll set it up again. All alone. McCarthy sends it to Cicerelli. Cicerelli hits the pipe. Hit the pipe to the left of Keens. Broughton controls. Good defensive play going down was Bourque. It goes back to the point. Hartsburg has a jump over his stick, but it keeps it in the zone. Broughton sends it back to Nielsen. Nielsen tees it up. Shot on. Keens falls on the puck.
He's put on quite a show, Jim, in this second period, Keens. He's been really battling because the North Stars have got some excellent scoring opportunities in the period. Again, that was that high-rising shot by Kent Nielsen. That's what Lorne Henning wants him to do. Continue to shoot the puck, shoot the puck. But Dino Cicerelli, what a move that he made where he's got it. Now wait for your goaltender to go down. That's that hesitation. Now you've got him at your mercy right off the crossbar.
Keens finished last year with a 3.29 goals against average, 8th best in the NHL. Fans starting to come alive with 1:21 left to go on Minnesota's power play. Hartsburg and Nielsen are back at the point. Cicerelli at one wing along with Brian Bellows. Broughton takes the draw, beats Linsman to it, goes into the corner. Bellows controls. Back it goes to Broughton. Milbury intercepts. He's out there now just on guts. You can see him huffing and puffing. Spent his entire career with the Boston Bruins. Mike Milbury signed as a free agent back in '74. Nielsen with a great play. Keeps it in, used the stick like a golf club. Intercepted, and Casper sends it on down.
I wonder if Milbury is on a player's contract or a coach's contract as far as salary is concerned.
Well, he might be collecting both the way he's playing. Bruins looking for all kinds of help. Puck jumps up over the glass, and we've got 44 seconds left to go in the period. 37 seconds left to go in Minnesota's power play. There is Mike Milbury out of Colgate University, born in Brighton, raised in Walpole. He went to Colgate on a football scholarship before he concentrated on hockey. Spent last summer working for, well, a cable operation up in Boston.
A few weeks ago, I talked to Mike, you know, his position now as a coach. He said, well, now we have to play mind games with the players. When I played, the coaching staff would do that with me. Now I have to do it with the players. Now he's back in a player role again. But I'm sure he'll be quite happy when the injured players get back and he can go help out behind the bench. Because what he was doing is handling the defenseman, changing defensemen. Goring was looking after the forward.
Well, you know, it's funny because in talking with Lorne Henning, he used the same words. He said you have to be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a bit of a babysitter these days. When you played, you just fed you guys raw meat and put the Zamboni out there. Milbury deflects it in. It was a centering pass. Milbury tried to clear the puck, and it deflected in off his stick.
You know what a player feels like? You want to dig a hole in the ice and crawl in it. It's all right, Mike. Shake it off. Still got a 3-goal lead. Is that Bellows? And that keeps his point streak alive, too. 18 games, and with a big assist from Mike Milbury. And there's not too much a goaltender can do. You know, in that position, Milbury might as well just let it slide right by.
Bellows will get credit for the goal, and as Gary Dornhofer pointed out, that keeps the streak alive. That's his 27th goal of the season. He only now needs, what, 21 games to catch Wayne Gretzky as far as the streak.
But that is a team record that stood for 15 years, scoring a point in 18 consecutive games.
Jude Druin had the old mark. North Stars close to within 3. The crowd gets back into it with 14 seconds left to go in the period. Gordy Roberts winds it around the far boards. Flett waits for it there. He's stepped into by Marquardt. Sends it rink wide to Casper. Casper.
They made so much noise, and you just got excited about how they took to our hockey club and how they got involved and how they felt about the whole situation. But it's a team effort.
Speaking
a lot of
of
different role players, I'm sorry, Jim, and it just came together. We had a camaraderie that won a lot of games for us.
Milbury, who deflected in a goal that is credited to Brian Bellows, lets a slap shot go from the left point, and Neil Broughton comes up with it. Sends it ahead on the left side. Gets it over to number 11, Tom McCarthy. McCarthy sends it in close to the defenseman, Kurt Giles. Giles racing in, tries to stuff it through. And Keene sends it across. Rink wide it goes. Crowder up ahead, number 32, Portnoy. Portnoy centering pass, deflected out by Beaupre. Into the corner it goes. Cicerelli winds it around to Giles. Portnoy pursuing him. It's sent up to Broughton. Broughton looks to the right side. Cicerelli racing down there. Milbury comes up with it.
We'll see if the North Stars can build on that gift goal that they got near the end of the second period. And, you know, you like to give you some kind of momentum, and that should be something to inspire the North Stars. But let's see if they can build on that. But they just haven't played with the intensity and drive that you should display at home. It hasn't been there.
Speaking about at home, there was the great legacy of quite a lady, Kate Smith. When you guys needed an emotional boost, they would either have Kate Smith live whenever possible or play her recording. What was that like as an inspiration for the Flyers?
Well, after we started winning a lot of games that way, Jim, you know, whenever we needed an important win, they kept playing it. We just kept the same way. They taped the stick the same way. But when things were going bad, amazing what they'll do to their hockey stick and their equipment.
Icing against the Boston Bruins, face off to the right side of Dougie Keene. I can remember one game where they kind of kept it a secret from the fans. And Kate Smith stepped out from the Zamboni end of the rink. The lights had been darkened. The spotlights were on and started weaving around the spectrum there. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was a very emotional moment when she sang God Bless America.
Never forget that.
You look at Dennis Marouk, number 9 for the Minnesota North Stars, hoping to get the draw and perhaps send it back to the right point where Bob Rouse and his slap shot await. Instead, it goes to number 10. Roberts lets fly. It's deflected in and a score. Dennis Marouk. Drafted in the second round by the California Golden Seals, had some lean years there and with the Cleveland Barons before coming to the North Stars.
Well, Jim, sometimes it pays off when a shot from the point goes wide because it was a perfect bank shot. Now, keep an eye on Marouk. As the puck is deflected, it'll come right to him. Now, Keynes is out of position, and all it is a spin around. And what happens is that Marouk hits Keynes in the leg, in the skate, and it'll deflect by him for a goal.
Marouk gets his 11th goal. Each team with 2 power play goals, and suddenly a 5-1 hockey game after that deflection by Milbury that Bellows gets credit for is a 5-3 hockey game, and the North Stars are right back in it. Out in front. Kicked out, clears the zone. Bruins regroup. Whiff on the slap shot.
You know, sometimes there's a tendency also when you have a 4 or 5 goal lead, you try to play defensively and not go to the attack. And I don't think the Bruins can be lulled into that. They have to continue to attack and go for those scoring chances and not sit back and try to protect the lead.
Roberts sends it over to Rouse. Rouse sends it all the way down. It will be touched by a Bruin, and this will be icing against Minnesota. Boston to get the North Stars back into it.
A big effect because they've suddenly come alive. They know that now the North Stars have a chance. The big thing now has to be Beaupre because he knows that he can't allow any more goals against.
Bruins send it in. It jumps over Beaupre's stick, and it's offside at the blue line. Let's check in with Tom Mees and find out how the Oilers and Sabres are doing. Tommy?
Well, Jim, an unlikely hero for the Oilers tonight. With a game tied at 5, Steve Smith with a slap shot and a score. Yari Curry scored again late. Edmonton wins it 7-5 the final.
So the Oilers get their 40th win on the year. What a job Scotty Bowman's done, though.
Just another shootout in Edmonton.
Another quiet night. They roll up the sidewalks early sometimes there. 5-3. Bruins lead. 7:50 left to go in third period. Milbury races for it along with Plett. Cut off at the pass by Blum. Plett still catches up with Milbury. Sends it ahead. Number 12 racing down the left side. The youngster, Randy Burridge. Burridge has it deflected out in front, and Plett comes up with a loose puck. Over on the right side. Racing down goes Nilsson. Nilsson gets it over. McKegney lets fly. Deflected out in front. One of the North Stars pulled down, and that was number 12, Keith Acton. Acton gets up, comes up with a loose puck, looks for someone to center to. Back to Plett. Plett, not known for his scoring, lets fly with a slap shot into the corner. Back it goes. Acton comes up with it. Acton on the off wing. Sends it back into McKegney. Good defensive play. Tied up there by Randy Burridge. Burridge, a big fella. 6'3", 205. Racing down for it goes number 4, Craig Hartsburg, the captain of the North Stars. McKegney lets it go. Icing is waved off. Going into the corner, 22, Mike Kelvin. Kelvin, 8 goals, 13 assists last year in Sweden. Open man in front. Broughton, no call. Jumps up over a stick and back will go ahead, Gary.
There's that same situation. You're trying to beat a man in your own zone, and that time Kelvin made a very good defensive play. Take the puck away from Broughton.
Racing in for it on the left wing. Jeff Portnoy. Portnoy to Crowder. Crowder a centering pass for Peterson. Peterson with 2 goals. Peterson tries to center it. Deflected. Crowder is there. Crowder looks for someone. Centers. Deflected by Beaupre. Shot is just wide by Peterson. Milbury races for it. Cicerelli tries to clear the zone. Milbury, the former assistant coach, activated against Chicago, playing in his 3rd game. In deep. Cicerelli comes up with a loose puck, and back comes Minnesota. 3-on-3. Milbury out of position. Marouk is offside. There is a big hit at the blue line. Crowder spun around. Deflected. Milbury goes into the corner. 15:55 left to go in the 3rd period. 5-3 Boston. Lindsman comes out of it. Former Edmonton Oiler, drafted by the Flyers, taken away in front by Rouse. Nilsson winds. Leaves for Gordie Roberts. Over on the left side. Gets it to Marouk. Marouk looks for Bellows. Deflected. Clears the zone. Rouse goes back. Gets it to Giles. Giles return pass. Sets up for Nilsson. Nilsson winds. Trying kind of surprised the defenseman Giles. Giles sends it on ahead. Nilsson looks to center, gets it over to Bellows. Bellows deflected out in front on a fine play by Lindsman. Leads for Cote. Cote returns to Kenny Lindsman, and it's cleared up to Charlie Simmer, the former LA King. Slager dumps it on in deep. Winds for Bellows. Bellows deflects. Bad pass. Almost cost him. Simmer races for the loose puck. Falling down in the corner, that is Kurt Giles, right in front of Bob Myers, and we'll have a face-off to the right side of Don Beaupre. Nope. Myers lets it go. Very slow on that whistle. 14:50 left to go. Right side of Beaupre. Bourque has a jump over his stick. Klett races for it there, and it's deflected into the stands. Brian McFarland, what's going on around the NHL tonight?
Well, Jim, we have a couple of final scores for you, and we'll take a look at what we have here. It's New York Rangers 3-1 over Detroit. The Red Wings lose their 40th game. Toronto came on with a rush late in the game to tie Vancouver 4-4. Well, they're in the third, and Chicago still leading St. Louis 3-2, also in the third.
Of course, Chicago currently in first place in that division, the Norris division, with 64 points. St. Louis with 58 points in the second spot, and the North Stars with 55. Klett tries to get around Bourque, cannot. Look like a couple of Bronco Bulls, and now some punches are thrown. Klett and Bourque, they go after each other with the sticks right in front of Myers, and there is Bourque, there is Klett, and here we go. I thought they were both going to go. Then Casper came in along with Marquardt.
I think Klett was cut on the play. You see just to the right eye there with a stick. I don't think, you know, Jim, since the players are all going to helmets now and face guards, I don't think that there's that same respect that there was years ago when no one wore the headgear. It seems the sticks are coming off all the time, and it's like you have a spear in your hand. And that's an area that I think the National Hockey League is very concerned about.
Marquardt will go. Bourque will go. Now, watch how it starts. We talked they were riding on each other's back.
Well, there certainly could have been penalties called in that play, and you see the sticks come up. And then Klett threw a punch, and the stick's back again.
And there came Marquardt. Blindsided Klett.
It'll be interesting to see the call on this one.
Willie Klett, Calgary's fourth choice back in the '82 draft.
Jim, the North Stars are trying to regroup. You know, last year was the worst year that they've had in the last 7 years. Only 25 wins. That was their lowest total. And 43 losses was their highest total. Only 4 teams had a worse record than the North Stars. And even their goals for was in 19th spot. So this is an area that they want to improve on. The all-around play of their hockey club.
Well, Gary, turn your dish to ESPN next Sunday night in Buffalo, the Sabres and the Capitals. And we talked about Buffalo losing out to Edmonton tonight. The Buffalo Sabres, of course, in the Adams division with 60 points, narrowly ahead of the Boston Bruins, and the Washington Capitals 10 points behind the Flyers. So that'll be a shootout at the Odd in Buffalo. They are going to have to sort out the...
And Marquardt, well, we'll listen to it on the PA.
2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for slashing. Boston's number 17, Nevin Marquardt, 2 minutes for charging. Minnesota penalties, number 24, Willie Klett, 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for slashing. Number 10, Gordy Roberts, 2 minutes for charging. Time of the penalties, 5:35.
So we're all even at 5 aside. Deflected out in front. There is Randy Burridge. Burridge tries to stuff it on the short side. Good play by Beaupre, and back come Minnesota 2-on-2. Cicerelli works with Broughton. Cicerelli into the middle. Wrist pass behind. It goes to number 14. That is Scott Bukestad. Bukestad sends it across the slot, but nobody's there. 13:30 left to go in the hockey game, at least in regulation. North Stars trail by 2. Peterson sends it rink wide. Kelvin blisters a shot high up over the glass.
Notice how smart Peterson was in that play. He got inside the blue line, made a little turn, just held onto the puck until he was able to find that open man.
Beaupre steers it aside. Portnoy steps into the corner, steps right into number 3, Bob Rouse. Rouse gave him a shove with the lumber on the stick and then sends it ahead. Back comes Marouk. Marouk dumps it in the zone. Bellows is flying down the left side, comes up with the puck, tries to center it. Bodies are flying, and it's deflected up into the crowd. Myers doesn't see it, so the linesman blows the whistle.
I think the North Stars have to do a lot more than that. You know, if you have both your wingers going at top speed and your center iceman doesn't give them the puck, then they have to slow down the blue line. Then if he dumps it in, you know, you have absolutely no chance of doing any kind of forechecking. So I think they should make up their mind just to, once he hits center ice, dump it in, have the wingers going at full play. At least you're going to stir up something in the corners.
Speaking of stirring up something, I think the Bruins dodged a bullet when Myers assessed the penalty. I think Marquardt could have gotten almost third man in. Looked like you and Schultze.
I didn't resort to things like that. Jim, what games were you watching?
A few of yours. There were some fisticuffs there in the orange and black. You read Schultze's book? You're in it.
I think everybody was in it.
I think he had a vivid imagination in some of those chapters. Over on the far side, North Stars try and control and clear the zone. Nielsen sends it ahead to Rouse. Rouse dumps it ahead to Marouk. Marouk to Blum. Bellows is there and couldn't get the stick on it. Had Keenes out of position. Bellows tied up. Over it goes to Peterson. Bellows forechecking him. Over on the left side, centering pass, looks for Marouk. Nielsen can't get free. Bellows centers it, and Blum is right there. Blum sends it out of the zone. Racing forward is Hartsburg. Hartsburg trying to tie up Portnoy. Goes into the corner. McKegney steps into Peterson. Crowder is there. Centering pass for Lindsman. Back it goes to Alain Cote. Wrist shot right on. Glove save by Beaupre. 11:53 left to go in regulation. Boston 5. The North Stars 3.
Always have to wind up for that big slap shot. He just let a wrist shot go from just inside the blue line, and Beaupre had to handle it. The idea is to get the puck on the net. When you wind up for the slap shot, my goodness, it can be stripped from you or go off in some other direction.
There's a quick wrist shot by number 25. That is Louis Slager, who's got his 15th goal of the year, power play goal earlier in the game. Good glove save by Beaupre. Talking about Cote and superstitious hockey players, how important are your own personal skates? His weren't here.
Very important, and if he's using somebody else's skates, you know, he's played a very commendable game under those circumstances. He has looked very good.
Slager lets fly. Beaupre has a jump over his stick, but it was wide. Back it goes. Number 10 for the Minnesota North Stars. Gordy Roberts brings it out. Rags it across the blue line. Sends it ahead on the left wing. Racing down on the wing goes Keith Acton. Deflected away. They battle for it along the far side. Langevin steps into it there. Clears the zone. And back goes number 12, Keith Acton again. Rouse. Deflected out in front. And the Bruins race for it there in control. Back it goes to Roberts. To Rouse. Forechecking by Kenny Lindsman. Up ahead it goes to Keith Acton. Acton almost pulled down from behind. Spun around goes Langevin. Over it goes on the left side. Charlie Simmer, the old L.A. King. Rouse lets fly high up into the crowd. Final scores around the NHL. Here again is Brian McFarland.
Well, we've got one final for you, Jim. Quebec and Calgary. Quebec won it 6-3. That's your final. Quebec takes over first place once again in the Adams division, 1 point ahead of Montreal. That's the best race going of all the divisions.
Quebec 33-21-4 now. Montreal 31-21-5. And of course then comes the Buffalo Sabres. They lost tonight. Boston can pick up a couple of points tonight with a win, move into the third spot. We'll have Gary Dornhofer explain the playoff possibilities.
Please don't.
Be here until Monday. Inside 11 minutes left to go in regulation. Cicerelli fans. Giles comes up with it. Let's fly. Controls the puck. And back come the Bruins. 3-on-2. Left wing it goes. Lindsman takes a tremendous hit by Giles, but still controls the puck and sends it in deep. Off it goes to Randy Burridge. Burridge tied up in the corner. Over there is Broughton. Myers says outside the zone. Bruins force the faceoff.
I think that's one thing that I miss in the way the game is played today is some good hitting. And, you know, this is something that Giles has been noted for. He comes in low and just lines up Burridge perfectly and spins him around. Good, clean hit.
Well, you know, they say that he's got that hip check style of Leo Boivin. What'd you buy? You bought a 14-footer to get ready for ESPN's coverage of the America's Cup, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Aluminum with a 9.9 engine. That'll really go, won't it?
We'll send you over there to Australia, see if we can bring the cup back after the Aussies took it away for the first time in 132 years. Puck jumps up behind the North Stars bench, so we'll do it again. Yeah, talking about Kurt Giles, excuse me, Glenn Sonmore said he's an every-nighter. What does that mean?
He comes to play every single game, and, you know, he pays the price. Blocks shots, he makes contact. You know, there's an easy way of playing the game, but that type of player doesn't last in the league very long.
Big hit over there by number 9, Dennis Marouk. He took a couple in the second period. He's dishing a few out now. Dennis comes up with a loose puck, winds it around, tries to get it to Bellows, and it clears the zone. Back it goes on the left point. The youngster, Telvin, out of Sweden. 8 goals, 14 assists last year. Intercepted. Rouse picks it up there, leaves it for Gordy Roberts. Roberts, a very solid, steady game tonight. Picks up the puck, sends it ahead. Brian Bellows scored in his 18th consecutive game, and it's a penalty against the Bruins. Back it goes to Giles, gets the free shot, and score! Keens will complain. It was a slap shot by Giles, free on the right point. It looked like it might have been deflected, Dorney.
Well, Bellows, he really got in front of that net, and again, showing some leadership and paying a price because he got in front of Keens and caused a disturbance there. That's what Keens was arguing about, that he may have been in the crease, but we'll have a better look at it when we show it to you on the replay.
A spirited Boston argument. Milbury's out. Marquardt is out.
Okay, Jim, let's see if we can pick it up. Now, keep an eye in front of the net. And you see Bellows get knocked down, but immediately heads for in front. And it really wasn't Bellows. I don't know what they were complaining about, because Bellows never did make contact with Keens.
Saved the goal. Maybe we can save that replay one more time, because I think Myers is disallowing the goal. Watch Lorne Henning, former coach of Springfield in the American Hockey League. Involved in all 4 of the New York Islanders Stanley Cups, first as a player, then 3 years as an assistant under Al Arbor. And Bob, now, let's see if Bellows is in the crease.
I don't think it's Bellows that gets the high stick. Look for the man in the slot. I can't pick out the number, but the puck will deflect. Okay, who's that in front of the net?
Marouk.
Marouk, he was in the slot, and that's what they're... Oh, boy, that's really close to call. I'd hate to
Pretty
be
tough to call a high stick on Dennis Marouk when you're only 5'8". He gets the stick up. He's only about as big as Plett. Well, it looked like a 5-4 hockey game, and the North Stars were climbing. That's a tremendous break for the Bruins, eh?
Now, Butch Goring was saying that in this slump that they're going through, everything that can go wrong to a hockey club goes wrong. All right, you folks at home, be referee.
Good
How
call.
would you call it?
Good call by Myers. Stick was above the shoulder. What do you think?
No comment. That was close. That was very close.
Dornhofer's taking the 5th. Well, it'll get the crowd back into the game, no question about that.
You know, Jim, as a color man, they want you to go on the limb, but they don't want you to saw off the branch.
9:49 left to go. Score stands Boston 5, Minnesota 3.
Would you like to win a trip to Holland?
Holland?
Would you like to
wow,
get Dutch Boy paint at a special sale price?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Would you like to get paint on your head? Then go to your Dutch Boy retailer right now and get this free Dutch Touch game card. There are thousands of prizes, including a trip for 2 to Holland, a Dutch Boy painter's cap, or an authentic Delft China cookie jar.
Oh, honey, thank you.
Dutch boy never lets up. He always looks good. He works hard for your money.
Did you ever win an argument with a referee?
Never. Now, you know that the North Stars, when they watch films tomorrow, they're going to be checking that one out.
And they'll probably send it to league headquarters anyway. Pulling up short. Number 7, Ray Bourque, will take it back out as the North Stars are on a power play for another minute and 50 seconds. Offsides against Boston. Let's check in again with Tom Mees.
Jim, at Chicago Stadium, the Blackhawks now have a 4-2 lead over North Division rival St. Louis. It is Dennis Savard to Steve Larmer. He has the goaltender Greg Millen at his mercy. Chicago leads at 4-2. The Blues beat Boston last night. Looks like they may not win tonight.
Well, Dennis Savard, they don't come much better than that.
Another outstanding year.
Harry Sinden, when talking about the plight of the Bruins with all the injuries, said, we'll take away Dennis Savard from the Chicago Blackhawks and see how they do for a month. 1:35 left to go in the penalty and the power play as far as Minnesota is concerned, trying to draw within one. They trail it 5-3. Broughton sends it ahead, dumps it on the near board. Cicerelli cut off at the pass by Peterson, picked up by McCarthy. Flips it out in front, and nobody's there but 3 Boston Bruins.
Now, that's what hurts. You have to have the discipline. You go all the way the length of the ice, and then you cough up the puck blindly. You're better off holding it or stopping behind the net or force the Bruins to take it away from you. But just to throw a blind pass in the slot and have it intercepted, no good.
Gary, I think that Minnesota went a little flat after that non-goal was disallowed. They just are not playing with the same enthusiasm they did before Myers waved off the goal. This power play a little flat. Back it goes to the point. Nilsson keeps it in. Good stick work. Gets it over to Hartsburg. Hartsburg can't get a shot away. Good defensive play there by Randy Burridge. He's had a strong game. Hartsburg in too deep. Back it goes. Nilsson tees it up. Kicked out in front. Broughton tries to get the stick down. Cross-check by Casper from behind. And Casper pokes it out of the zone. Burridge takes a big hit. Too little, too late. Hartsburg comes up with a loose puck. Rink wide, it goes to Bellows. Bellows stutter steps, gets it over to Plett. Plett against Milbury, sends it in on goal. Keens kicks it aside. Bellows races for it. Marouk comes up with it. Back to Hartsburg. Tees it up. Let's slide. Deflected. Kicked out in front. Bellows sends it back. Plett is camped out on the crease. Milbury and Plett doing battle out in front. Hartsburg again. Let's fly. Deflected out in front. Marouk had him point blank. Keens kicked it out. Milbury with a cross check, and flags and whistles are all over. Milbury and Marouk. Milbury just skates away, looks over at Myers and said, what's going on?
Yeah, how do you like to play it, be a goaltender, and have a big guy like Plett, looks like a big oak tree standing in front of you, and you can't move him out? Some excellent work. You saw the stick come down by Keens against Willie Plett. So again, there sits Willie, his favorite spot. He gets over 100 minutes plus every single year.
He has season tickets there.
You get a good view from the penalty box area.
Plett takes one of those costly third period penalties that Lorne Henning was lamenting about earlier today. There is Milbury. Another final in the NHL tonight. Brian?
Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs have fought back at Maple Leaf Gardens, and in overtime, a final now, 4-4 Vancouver and Toronto. The Leafs, with the point, move 9 points up in Detroit. Vancouver now a single point ahead of Winnipeg, the most disappointing team in hockey this year.
Second overtime tie tonight. 4-all the Canucks and the Leafs. 5-all the Penguins and the Devils.
Now, Keens and Willie Plett both draw slashing penalties.
Who was the worst slashing goaltender you ever played against?
Now, how does Billy Smith sound? John Blum is going to serve that penalty for Keens.
Bork comes up with a loose puck. So we're 5-on-5 with 7:50 left to go in regulation. Bruins lead by 2 goals. Rout. Forechecking by Lindsman. Leaves it there for Gordy Roberts. Up ahead it goes to Bellows. Marouk races in. Keens deflects it up against the glass. Milbury's there. Mike has logged a lot of minutes tonight. Marouk centers it back behind the net. Nilsson comes up with it there. Poked away by Lindsman. It goes instead to number 23, Brian Bellows. Bellows tries to center it and tee it up, and back from the Bruins. Charlie Simmer leaves it out in front. 25, Louis Slager with his 15th goal on the year. Sends it on in deep. Roberts gets into it with Lindsman. No call by Myers. Skates away. Back it goes in front, and there they go down on the ice. Lindsman tied up. Meanwhile, Minnesota clears the zone. Rouse across the red line. Works in on Cote. Nobody's in. North Stars on a chain. Bruins send it back out inside of 7 minutes. Courtnall. Slager. And it goes to Casper. Casper sends it in. Deflected out in front by Hartsburg. Over on the near boards to Cicerelli. Cicerelli sends it ahead to number 2, Kurt Giles. Giles to Hartsburg. Slap shot. Milbury got a piece of that. Deflected to Cote. Cote and Longever get the sticks up. Milbury takes it right away. In deep, Cicerelli. Helped out in front by Keith Acton. Centering pass. Nobody's there. Keens comes up with a glove save. 6:33 left to go in regulation.
And Louis Slager, he limped off towards the bench. May have some problems with the knee. Tried to go out again and test it. Operation fell downhill after that.
Off the draw, North Stars control. Rouse back on the right point. Bruins fighting for it on the near boards, and the faceoff will be to the left side of Doug Keane. 6:25 to go. How about when you're behind by 2 goals now, playing at home, 6.5 minutes to go? You have to start taking more chances, open things up a bit.
Well, they were the North Stars were doing that from the second period on, but I think you're gonna play your better players a lot more, and perhaps go to 3 lines and 4 defensemen. But the guys that are going to score the goals for you, they have to get more ice time. But the Bruins, you know, they're going to be watching for that, Jim. You know, when a defenseman pinching in, you just bank the shot off, and that's how you develop those 2-on-1s.
Giles free in the middle, lets it save, and it's a kick save by number 31, Keanes in front. Just got the pads in front of that one. Marquardt goes flying down the right wing. Hartsburg takes it away. Good forechecking there by Casper. Casper ties up Hartsburg, comes up with a puck. They step into each other in the corner, get the elbows and the sticks up. Into the corner it goes, and we'll have a face-off to the left side of Don Beaupre.
So you can see the Bruins now, they're very content to.
5-3, Boston. Each team with 2 power play goals tonight. Boston with a runaway second period, opened up a 5-1 advantage. Rouse sends it ahead, tries to clear the zone. Cicerelli whips it around, and the Bruins intercept at center ice. Courtnall sends it on each, works in with Peterson. Roberts takes it away, sends it ahead. Right wing, it goes to Cicerelli. Cicerelli against Bork. Bork takes Cicerelli heavily into the board. Peterson winds it around. Racing for it there goes Crowder. Crowder clears it out. One of the North Stars pulled down. That was number 10. No call. Gordy Roberts. Roberts gets the helmet or the elbow heavily into the helmet of Charlie Simmer. And the puck, meanwhile, comes to the near boards to Cicerelli. Cicerelli has it deflected by Courtnall. It goes instead to Rouse. Rouse to Roberts. North Stars on a change. Roberts lets fly. Deflected out in front by Keane.
Now you'd think the North Stars would just be all over the Bruins in this third period because they played at home last night. They didn't have to travel. The Bruins, they were coming in from a road trip, and they should have been a lot more tired than the North Stars. But that hasn't been the case.
Minnesota offside at the blue line with 4:58 left to go. Boston 5, Minnesota 3.
For goals if the fans start to file out. That's what's starting to happen here in Minnesota.
And, of course, those speckled seats become even emptier here at the Met. Inside of 5 minutes left to go. North Stars on the short end, 5-3. Breaking out of the zone. Marouk sends it in. Bellows wheeling down that right side. Charlie Simmer beats into the puck, and the Bruins will try to clear it out. Lindsman has a jump over his stick to Giles.
The North Stars just a little late. They had Bellows going in there forechecking. He took his man out, but that second man that's supposed to come and help out, he wasn't around. That's why Bruins had an easy time coming out of their own end.
Milbury has it picked off by Nilsson. Nilsson on the off wing tries a centering pass, and a good sliding defensive play by number 33, John Blum. Back it goes to the right point. Kept in there. Giles sends it up against the glass. Blum comes up with it, deflects it up the glass, and it's deflected up and over the glass. Bellows kind of gave it a half tap as it went on in. Brian Bellows has now scored in 18 consecutive games. The old record for the North Stars, 17, set by Jude Druin.
Now, this is such an important game for the Boston Bruins because, as we had talked about, they're on a 7-game road swing, this being the third, and they've lost the first 2, and they needed something to break up that losing way, and with 4:15 left to go, it looks very promising for them.
Willie Plett is back out on the ice, and there are the last 2 combatants, Bork and Plett. Plett gets the stick up high as he goes into the corner. North Stars control, and then it jumps up over the stick. Steve Casper races down the left wing, tries a centering pass, gets it out in front, looks for Nevin Marquardt. It goes into the corner. Heavy hit there. Marquardt tied up in the corner by Bob Rouse. Bruins come up with a loose puck. Rouse and Marquardt still going at it in front of Don Beaupre. Marquardt comes up with the puck right in front of Rouse. Referee gets in the way. Sticks get up in front, and no call. Rink-wide pass. Bruins control. Bork sends it back into the zone. Casper races for it there. Rouse comes up with the puck. Gordy Roberts sends it ahead. Left side it goes. Tom McCarthy. McCarthy with a goal last night against the Whalers. Picked off by Bork. That's why he was the leading vote getter. Along with Paul Coffey, the Edmonton Oilers. Giles. A weak effort there. Peterson with 2 goals. Cross-check from behind by Willie Plett right in front of Myers. Fans thought Plett was getting even. Back comes Broughton. Broughton tries to leave it for Cicerelli. Picked off by the Bruins. Courtnall sends it over on the right side. Boston in total command at the 3-minute mark. Beaupre.
They're able to slow down the pace, too.
Beaupre deflected out in front. Courtnall tees it up, and Beaupre comes up with it. Gets it over to Hartsburg. 2:50 and counting. Boston 5, Minnesota 3. Giles. Good point by Gary Dornhofer. You thought that Minnesota would be all over the Bruins. Instead, it's the other way around. Broughton sends it on the right side. Cicerelli lets fly with a slap shot. Glove save by Keene. Winds around, jumps up over a stick, and back come the Bruins. Courtnall will leave it right there in front. Crowder deflected out by Beaupre, and a whistle. It's deflected high up over the glass. 2.5 to go. Boston burst of 2 hits, and back comes Willie Plett. He'll get the muscle up again. There's a little cross-check on Peterson.
Well, that's something that Plett does better than anything else, is get involved and knock people down. He could have drawn a penalty on that play.
Face off to the left side of Don Beaupre. Marouk against Linsman. And Kenny Linsman takes it right away, leaves it for Charlie Simmer. Winds it around behind Beaupre. Marouk leaves it for Bellows. Forechecking there by Bork. Bellows comes up with a loose puck. Sends it ahead. This will be icing against the North Stars. They race for it now. Helen touches it first and will go all the way down to the right side of Don Beaupre. 131 seconds left to go in this one, and Boston looks like they'll end that 5-game losing streak.
Now, Beaupre has only allowed the 1 goal, and that was a deflection by Peterson after he took over from Casey. So he really has done his job. You know, I've always wondered, Jim, about alternating your goaltender, playing him every other game. I always felt that if a guy's hot, why not let him play?
Well, how did Freddie Shero do it with Bernie?
He let him play.
When was Bernie not hot? Bernie Parent, of course. Don Beaupre became the North Stars' starting goaltender midway through last spring's playoffs against Chicago, and Minnesota felt so strongly about his performance, they got rid of the veteran Gilles Meloche. 2:10 left to go. Bork takes away the loose puck. Bruins all-star defenseman. And the recently proud Papa. Slap shot high over the glove of number 33, Don Beaupre, and high up into the stands.
There's another example of what speed will do for your hockey club with Ken Linsman, you know, moving.
Will take the draw along with Keith Acton, number 12. Now, why would you have Plett out there when you're down by 2 goals? He is not known for his scoring.
That's a good question. Something maybe that Lauren Henning could ask, because Plett has certainly struggled as far as scoring goals this year for the hockey club.
You've got Acton out there along with Tony McKegney, number 25. McKegney will take the draw, and Plett. This is not the high-scoring line when you're down by 2 goals.
Well, he's only got 4 in the 42 games, and I guess you have a Willie Plett out there that if you dump it in, he's going to come up with a puck in the corner.
But still, you need somebody to put it in the net. There's Plett near side. Milbury looks at him. Plett gives up the puck, sends it ahead. McKegney chased off the puck by 33 Johnny Blum, who's also played a pretty good game. Blum goes into the corner, steps into Plett. There goes Milbury into the corner as well. Winds it around. Plett deflects it. Simmer comes up with it and just golfs it to center ice. Hartsburg wheels. Acton on the left side. Passes. McKegney lets it go with 90 seconds left to go. Milbury really stepped into McKegney. Mike not running out of muscle. He might be running out of oxygen, but he's making his presence known. Rouse sets it up. Gets it over to Acton. Acton, one too many pass. Poked away by Milbury. How about that effort? 60 minutes of hockey. And only his 3rd game back. He goes to the bench. Takes a couple of deep breaths. Last minute of play. 5-3 Boston.
The Bruins are playing very smart in this 3rd period. You know, they're just concentrating on their checks.
Broughton tries to send it ahead too far. Would you pull Beaupre at this point?
Why not? He's gonna go over to the bench.
Bellows. Slap shot, it's wide. Keene watches it go. Here comes Beaupre. McCarthy is out there. 6-on-5, open net. 31 seconds left to go. Bruins with a 2-goal cushion. Bellows fights for it. Takes it away. Broughton into the corner. Cicerelli. Broughton takes a hit. Then comes up with a puck. Centering pass out in front. And McCarthy couldn't get the stick down. Sent ahead. Open net for the Bruins. Coming up with a loose puck. Crowder just dumps it on in. Burridge too far. 10 seconds left to go. The Bruins will end their 5-game losing streak. With 1 second left to go.